Thank you everyone for joining the Vention 2025 webinar hosted by the Woodworking Network. I am Ryan Wagner, the publisher of FDMC Magazine. This webinar will be presented by Marianne Willette, the Product Marketing Manager, and she will be joined by Mark Bulduck, the Senior Robotics Sales Manager. Marianne is a passionate product marketing manager at Vention, specializing in turnkey applications. Over the past 2 years, she has been instrumental in driving key product developments and go-to market initiatives. Before her time at Vention, Marianne spent 4 years at a Montreal-based startup where she gained significant experience in product strategy and development. Her blend of creativity and strategic insight drives innovation, ensuring Vention's offerings resonate with clients' needs. Mark is a forward-thinking senior robotic sales manager at Vention. As an engineer with a strong foundation in sales, he has spent the last 3 years at Vention, where he has been pivotal in delivering tailored automation solutions. Over his time at Vention, Mark has specialized in building custom solutions and establishing himself as a trusted automation partner for various companies across North America. He has developed a particular expertise in robotic sanding solutions, helping clients optimize their processes and precision with precision and efficiency. Welcome, Marianne and Mark.
Thank you very much, Ryan, for the introduction. And hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Marc-Antoine and I are very excited to dive into the subject of automated sanding. Before we dive into it, I just want to take a minute to introduce who is Vention. Vention is the world's only end-to-end hardware and software stack for the automated factory. On a single platform with Vention, you can design automated equipment, program, deploy, simulate, and operate. Vention's mission is to democratize automation and make it accessible to small to medium-sized manufacturers, as you can see on this screen, some examples. The versatility of our platform allows us to now serve more than 25 industries and have over 18,000 machines in the field. Our goal today is to show why automated sanding is essential, demonstrate that it's accessible, and explain how it solves real challenges faced by cabinet makers. We'll first dive into the challenges of manual sanding. Then we'll go over what is a robotic sanding system and what are the business benefits for you. And then my favorite part, real world examples where you'll be able to hear and see the concrete impacts of robotic sanding on a cabinet maker. And of course, we'll end with a Q&A where you'll be able to ask myself and Marc-Antoine any question you have. I'll now hand it over to Marc-Antoine to go over the challenges in manual manufacturing.
Thank you, Marianne. So sanding is tough, right? Sanding is tough for a variety of reasons. I have yet to hear a cabinet or kitchen manufacturer to tell me that all of their operators sand the same way and give identical quality output. If that were to happen, that would be a reality when one manufacturer would find operators who would actually want to do the job. And then when you do, you quickly get to a point where you either need to hire more or you have sanding as a bottleneck.
So we're curious which of these apply to you. We will have a poll appear on your screen. You can select more than one, of course. We know that it's not just one or the other. We'll leave a couple seconds for everyone to answer.
Interesting. So we see that inconsistent quality and labor challenges are the leading factors compared to production bottleneck.
Thank you, everyone, for these votes. We'll now go over the next slide.
All right. So how does automation addresses those challenges? Well, with automation and robots, those are programmed so that the outcome is always the same. which inevitably leads to a standardized quality. Automation and robots also, they always go at the same pre-configured speed. Hence, the efficiency of the machine and of the sanding process is drastically impacted. One example of this is Fabridor, for instance, which we will learn more in just a few minutes. But their initial priority was to automate sanding because of quality. But by automating sanding, inevitably they ended up being more efficient. They reduced their headcount in their sanding department by 50%. And with that being done, they also increase the production throughput per day by about 31%. And then finding people to do manual jobs is getting harder and harder. With the baby boomers retiring, the new workers that are not interested in working in shops makes it tough on labor. So with automation and robotics, finding labor is easier because the jobs that you're proposing are more attractive. Another example of Fabridor, for instance, sanding used to be a department that was almost a punishment. Nobody really wanted to do that. Once the robot was installed and it kept running, it now became one of the most favorite departments. Everybody wanted to go there to operate the robot.
Perfect. Thank you. So we'll now go into the overview of robotic sanding, and we'll start by looking at a video which Marc-Antoine will explain what we're seeing on screen.
Okay, so what are we seeing on screen right now? What we see on screen right now is the rapid series sanding, which was developed by Vention and 3M. So it's one type of configuration where we have a collaborative robot that sends panels, doors. So what we saw earlier was an operator coming with panels, placing a panel on one of the stations. So you see that on the screen, the system has 4 stations for 4 small panels. So the lady adjusts the vacuum pods that are mounted on rails, so the pods can slide on the rail. You have one rail that is fixed, so that it acts as the origin position, and then the other rail can slide from left to right. The fixturing mechanism is made to fit high mix type of production floor, because we all know that cabinet kitchen manufacturers most of the time don't operate in batch size type of operations. It's highly custom. So this is where this type of setup becomes really interesting. All right. So if we take a step back and look at what are the components part of such a machine, well, you have the robot arm. The arm itself is a collaborative robot. What does that mean? It means that it doesn't need additional safety, so that it can work alongside humans. The robot itself has fork sensors in its joints, so that if ever it were to collide with an operator or something, it would detect a collision and stop automatically. Then on the end of arm tool, you have the sanding head. You have a force sensor to ensure that the robot always applies the same force on the panel. We'll dig a bit deeper into the end of arm tool in just a bit. Then you have the workpiece fixture that we went over in the video. So adjustable vacuum pods on rails. And then you have the programming interface, which is there to create sending recipes, so that you can have the robot to send rough doors or coated doors. We'll dive deeper into the programming interface in just a bit as well. So the end-of-arm tool itself, a key component to ensure that a robotic sending setup delivers constant quality is the compliance force. That's the pneumatic sensor made by PushCorp. That compliance device is powered by air. So in the programming interface, the tablet, you can import what is the force that you want the robot to apply while doing the sanding. Then you have a measurement system, which is made by Keyence. So it's a laser that pretty much acts as an automatic door dimension detector. So before the robot starts its sanding recipe, the robot will hover over a part to detect what the dimension is. Once that's done, then the sanding recipe begins. You have a dust extractor that is connected to the sander as well. Um, and then you have an abrasive media made by 3M that is mounted on there. So in the programming interface, you will pre-configure what is the surface area that you want the robots to do before it goes into a grid changing position, and have the machine prompt an operator to change the grid. All right, so we said that there are different configurations of robotic sanding machines. This is one of them, the rapid series sanding. What's special about this configuration is that it's an equipment that is off the shelf. It resides in Vention's warehouse in Montreal. So whenever it's purchased, it is shipped on a pallet, fully assembled, and ready to be installed. When I say ready to be installed, this machine is also plug and play. Plug and play in a sense that the only thing you need to do to power it up is two power outlets, 120-volt power outlets at 15 amps, and one airline supply of about 80 psi. So the system is installed in less than an hour. Once you power it up, you go through the calibration and you create your recipes and you're ready to go. So this is very perfect for anyone who's looking to get their feet wet with automation, standardize the sending quality while uh, inherently increasing operator efficiency. Another type of configuration is a dual linear line. So this is what Fabridor put into place. And the workflow is to have an operator at the entry of the line who places unsanded panels. Then the panels are conveyed automatically to the first sanding area, where pneumatic pushers will reference the door. Then the sending recipe, the sending measurement actually begins to then begin the sending recipe. Once that's completed, the door is released, brought to the second sending zone, and the same process goes by to finally have the door conveyed on the outfeeded conveyor. So in a layout where your operations is linear, you have a lot of people sanding manually. This can make sense, whereas the person that feeds the machine can do the inside edges, and then the person who outfeeds the machine can wrap up by doing the outside edges, for instance. There are various ways to go about how you want to manage your operations, but this is ideal whether you have two grids as part of your sending process, or if you have a really high throughput objective, because both robots could have the same grid. Hence, you'd have two robots simultaneously sanding doors. Another configuration is a U-shape type of robotic cell. So the workflow is very similar to what we just went through, but in comparison, you have just one robot, but you have one operator to feed the machine. The operator can stand idle and feed the machine while sending the inside outside edges and outfeed the panels that get sanded. This is ideal again for sending standardization and for any shop that wants to increase the productivity per head. And then there are other avenues where robotic sending could be applied, right? Whether it's for sending MDF, sending wood, doing a bit of pick and place, polishing, grinding. That's the beauty of Vention, because we can utilize solutions that are off the shelf that have that acts as a benchmark, and then from there customize to whatever the need is. So what we see on the screen, for instance, is something that we're working on. It's a setup that is somewhat of a combination between the dual linear line and the U shape. So you have a robot that is meant to send flat surfaces, and then the second robot is meant to pick up a door and then sand its outside edges with a belt sander. So this is the type of custom configuration that could be put together. Can we change the slide? Okay. All right. So programming interface. Flexibility is key, right? Because as far as I know, no cabinet or kitchen manufacturers have the same quality criteria. So what Vention has developed is a programming interface to easily program how you want the robot to behave. So if we go into the another slide, we'll go dig really deep into what are the steps to go through to get a sending recipe. First step is to select what sending tool you want to use. Do you want to use a square one to do the inside pockets of check your doors, for instance, or do you want to use an orbital one? You select that tool. Then second step is to select what type of panel is to be sended. Is it a flat panel? Is it a shaker? Is it a recessed? Is it a raise? You select what panel is to be sended. Third step is to select what pattern you want the robot to do. So depending on the material, there are going to be some patterns that will give you a better quality outcome than others. You have a list of different patterns that you can select and test. Um, we were happy to give you recommendations based on our experience, but this is where the major flexibility lies. Then final step is to create your sequence. So you can add up multiple patterns and then build your own sequence to make sure that enough blending is made, for instance. And then once you have that recipe created, you can have multiple ones. Well, then you have your stations, for instance, if we refer ourselves to the Rapid series, where you have 4. So the operator mounts the panel, selects which recipe to run, and then click split. And then if ever you want to stay with that recipe, you don't necessarily have to go back to the pendant. The only job of the operator is to load and offload the machine while the robot always keeps sending. All right, so now we're going to talk about the benefits of automating sending. So we went over those topics a little bit earlier, but of course there are going to be some efficiency gains because a robot from an instantaneous standpoint will send faster than a human. Not by a lot if you want to keep your quality standards to a certain level, but over time, over a shift, the robot will end up doing more doors in a day than a human. And it's just because it always goes at the same speed. It never stops. It's never hurt. Or so you will inevitably, whatever the configuration you go with, have efficiency gains. And then, but the quality improvement is, and from what we've been told, is the biggest game changer here. If you get to a point, and you will inevitably get to a point where you will find your perfect sanding recipe, well, then it's just a matter of making sure that the door that you put on the machine is always the same. The robot will always send the same way. And ultimately, automating your sending operations from someone who comes from an automation background is a simple project. It is not something complicated. So it's the perfect entry door to get into robotics and then further implement robots throughout the shop, whether it's to offload CNCs, offload panels coming out of an edge bender, or whatnot. All right, real world examples. Um, so uh, those type of solutions are a good fit for both cabinet and kitchen manufacturers. Obviously, the requirements, the objectives are going to be different. But Fabridor, for instance, they make custom wood panels, MDF, and thermofoil doors. They're about 70 to 100 employees. And for them, the dual linear cell is what made the most sense. On the other hand, for kitchen manufacturers, most of the time the product's variability is a bit higher, which is why other configuration can make more sense. The size of the company and the amount of doors, I would say, is a big decision factor as to should the U shape make more sense or the rapid series make more sense. And that's our job as well to help you figure out what makes the most sense.
Awesome. So now that we've went through these, we'll take a moment to watch a video all together. Actually, our customer Fabridor will be explaining what was the impact of robotic sanding on their process.
Hubert Dubois, General Manager at Fabridor. Fabridor is a cabinet door manufacturer. We fabricate door out of MDF and solid wood, as well as thermoplastic and veneer doors. We sell doors to cabinet manufacturers throughout the entire province of Quebec, as well as a part of the Ontario and the Atlantic province. We looked into the automation because we had a quality issue. We were looking for a uniformity in the sanding operation of the MDF door. It's been a challenge for many years because it was a manual and repetitive operation. That's why we went with a robot that doesn't get tired.
Sylvain Harel, directeur d'usine chez Fabridor. L'un des plus gros enjeux qu'on avait, c'était la qualité, et le deuxième, c'était la main-d'œuvre. Pourquoi la main-d'œuvre? Parce que lorsqu'on tombait dans les plus grosses périodes, souvent on n'avait pas de main-d'œuvre, et pour former une personne sur le sablage, ça peut prendre entre 3 et 4 semaines.
At Fabridor, we are proud to supply quality product, and this is why we thought automation was really a solution that would improve the quality of our MDF door. We want to be the best quality MDF door on the market. That's it. No less. We had been in the process of finding an automation integrator for multiple months when Vention just showed up at the door. Every other robotic company that we've looked into wanted us to write them a check before even starting to look at a solution, while Vention was ready to invest their time with us to find the solution.
Ce qu'on a acquis, c'est une ligne de cobot en continu. Et moi, je pensais qu'on prendrait 2-3 jours. Ça a pris une journée d'installation et le lendemain, on travaillait et on faisait des portes sur le robot. Fait que ce qu'on a fait avec Vention, on s'est assuré que ça soit autant facile pour l'employé qui travaille avec sa sableuse que de travailler avec son robot. L'impact que ça a apporté chez Fabridor, la ligne, c'est la productivité, l'efficacité, la qualité. Et on a été capable de monter un volume avec seulement 2 personnes, ce qu'on faisait avant ça avec 4 personnes. Et la qualité, c'est même pas à comparer, c'est supérieur. On a vu aussi une hausse de rétention dans le poste de sablage. Donc, c'est plus le même poste qu'on avait il y a 3 mois. Aujourd'hui, c'est vu comme un poste valorisant. C'est une réussite. Je suis vraiment content.
The sanding line has been in operation for about 6 weeks now, and we only have received positive feedback from our customer on the quality of the sanding. At Fabridor, we strive to improve our efficiency, and with the robot sanding line, we have improved our sanding efficiency of 31%. We believe that in the next few months, we will improve this number up to 35, maybe 40%. Fabridor is really happy to have found Vention and know that they're a great partner for any automation project coming up in the future.
All right, so we heard it from Fabridor. Obviously, quality, efficiency, and labor shortage were some big factors as to why they started implementing robotics. So I'd be really curious to hear a bit more about you guys, everybody who's attending, to understand if you're facing the same issues or facing other challenges.
It looks like it's now time for Q&A. I saw some questions in the chat. I know, Marc-Antoine, I think you've answered them, but I would like to maybe ask them out loud for everyone to hear the answer. So first question is if the plug and play system also includes a dust collection system?
Yes, so all systems that we went over, they can either be, for the dust extractor, they can either be plugged into your main dust extractor system, or what most customers do is they get an additional mobile dust extractor. So 3M has one, for instance, the 3M X Track dust extractor. So it's you plug that into 120 volt power outlet, and you approximately need to empty it on a daily basis.
Great, thanks for your answer, Marc-Antoine. Another question here from James. What about edge and profile sending?
Yes, great question. What about edge and profile sending? Some configurations that we went through are only for flat surfaces. For outside edge sanding, this is something that we're working on. As you saw, the custom setup with 2 robots, one for flat surfaces, and then the second one to pick up a part and then send the outside edges with a belt sander. That would be one of the way to automate the outside edge sanding. For the inside profile sanding, this is something yet to be automated with robotics. It requires so much craftsmanship that right now there's not a reliable way for robots to do that. And this is really where the combination of robots and operator becomes essential. So those are not solutions to get rid of operators. There will still be the need for operators and their craftsmanship to deliver, the products that define you as manufacturers.
Awesome. Okay, questions keep coming in. What is the minimum and maximum door size?
Yeah. So for the Rapid Series sanding, the minimum dimension is 5.5 inch by 7.5. And then the maximum is 36 by 90 inches. Because all the small sections on the table, they can be merged to either have 4 small parts, 2 medium-sized parts, or 1 large part.
Great. Marc-Antoine, tell us if installation and transport are included.
The installation is included. I would myself come and help you set it up and create recipes and get that thing sanding your doors. For shipping, it is not included because it varies on uh, the current logistic fees. but we can get that sorted out if you're interested based on where you're located.
Great. Ryan, I don't know if you see other questions coming
I
in.
did.
Oh,
Yeah, thank you.
yes.
Oh, you have one. Go ahead.
Yes. Can the flat rails and styles be sanded?
Yes, of course. So you can either select to have a recipe just for the center piece or for both the center piece and rails and styles.
How many doors per day?
How many doors per day? That's a great question. Um, well, it really depends, right? It depends on the configuration that you go with, whether it's the dual linear cell, the U-shape, the rapid series. What I can tell you though is ascending time per door. So based on some tests and the data that we've acquired to our running cells, for a door that is 15 by 12 inches, um, doing only sending the center panel with a linear frame pattern and a curly pattern, um, robot going at the 200 millimeter speed and having a 50% overlap, you end up at a sending time of 46 seconds.
Awesome.
I
Hope
have.
that answers your question.
Yeah.
We have another question coming in. Sorry, Ryan, I keep cutting
Oh,
you
it's
off, but
great.
more questions are coming in. So question here is, can I change the tool by myself?
If you go the custom route, you have that flexibility. It's just a matter of then changing the parameters and the offsets. For the Rapid series, the second version of the system, which will come out later this summer, and that will be able to be retrofit, will have two heads on the robot. So you won't even have to change the tool. You'll have a round and a square one, both mounted on the robot. So on the tablet, when you'll select, oh, for my recipe A, I want to use the round tool for my rails and styles, for instance, and then for my recipe B, I want to use just the square one. It's something that you can get by.
Great. We have another great question here. How does the robot know when to replace the sandpaper?
Great question. So it's for you to tell it. So when you'll create your sending recipes, one of the information that you have to input will be what is the surface area that you want the robot to send before it goes into its grid changing position. So the robot calculates what surface amount it gets to as it sends, and then when it reaches that number that you will have input, it'll finish the door and then go into a position, and the machine will prompt the operator to come and change the grid.
Another question here, what kind of metrics are you using to quantify sending performance, and are we able to export the data from the system?
Um, this the sending performance is really specific to quality standards, right? So those type of machines, they ensure that whatever parameters you input, you always get the same outcome. But then quality will differ from one manufacturer to another. So it's very tricky to this day to quantify the sending performance. But
Good.
yes, if you were to measure the information, that could be exported. Yeah.
And maybe if I can, if I may add to that, Vention has a platform called Machine Analytics, not yet available for the sending system, but it is a performance tracking platform. So to track number of doors for example, not available yet, but would come and would allow you to extract the data. We have another question here. What's the support for this type of machine?
Yeah. So in terms of support, the robot itself is a FANUC, so it guarantees a maintenance free for 8 years. And then the machine itself is guaranteed under a warranty for 2 years. And on dependent, you have access to remote support. So dependent to control the machine and create your recipes has a dual camera, similarly as what your phone has, so that whenever you have a new operator or you have a question, you need to troubleshoot something, well, you can click on a button to call a remote support team and get a response within 10 minutes. So that's our first, that's going to be your first front line of support. That's the quickest way to get to an answer. And then if the need be, we have the same team that commissions turnkey solutions that can come on site and troubleshoot.
Great, thank you, Marc-Antoine. We have another question here on edging and profiling again. So do we have a timeline for edging and profiling operations?
For outside edges, we expect to have something before the end of the year. And then for sending inside profiles, I don't have a definite timeline, no, fortunately.
Good. I don't know, Ryan, if we wanted to cover other questions.
There's a couple here. I've got, can robotics and automation handle small batch and high mix production types?
Yes, yes. These type of machines were specifically made for high mix systems. That's why you have the laser, and the operator doesn't need to input the different dimensions that go through the machine. But then if you're a manufacturer that doesn't go through the high mix type of production, but produces in batches, you can skip that scanning part so that you get a more aggressive throughput. So you would manually input what is the dimension of the door to be sanded, and then the robot would just constantly sand one door after the other.
Okay. How about how safe are the collaborative robots?
Well, the collaborative robot were made to work alongside operators. It depends what tool is mounted on it and at what speed it operates, right? Then that's where the gold lies. So in these setups for the Rapid series, for instance, it was designed so that it doesn't need additional safety around it. So an operator can very well work alongside it while being safe and make sure it doesn't get injured.
Cool. There's one more question that just got added here in the chat. So do we have experience or a client doing lacquered or primed doors?
Yes, 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 we do. And here the key is going to be to adjust the perimeters to get a good quality there.
Sounds great. The only other one I have is how do people start? Like what do you recommend?
Having a call with somebody at Vention, sometimes even walking the shop floor can be helpful. And the key is really to try to find a first project that is easy so that you can hit a home run, boost your team's morale related to automation, because it can be intimidating to get a robot working alongside you. So get that first quick win rather than shooting for the project that will have the best ROI, but that is extremely complicated, would be my advice.
That's great. I don't see any other questions coming in. Okay. Marianne, did you say there was a handout?
Yes, there is a handout that you can find here, which is a product brochure for the Rapid Series sanding product, which we presented during this webinar.
Okay. All right. Well, I would like to give a special thanks to Marianne and Mark for taking time out of their day to help us learn more about the latest in our industry. To Vention, obviously, for bringing this great information to our viewers. You can learn more at vention.com. And everybody on the call, thank you very much for coming and attending the webinar. Please be on the lookout for additional Woodworking Network webinars throughout the entire year. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.